How's it going, guys? You're watching Dirt Bike Channel. I'm your host, Kyle Brotherson, and I got Sam here with me, and we're gonna take this YZ250X, the two-stroke version of Yamaha's Enduro off-road racing hare scramble style bike. It's right here in the truck, and we're gonna take this thing and put it through its paces today. And we have a KTM 300XC to compare it against directly. So this should be an interesting day. I'm looking forward to this, because it's the first time that we'll have this bike right next to basically its direct competition. Now, it's not a complete direct competition because this is a 300, that's a 250, but Sam and I have ridden the 250 version, the KTM version, enough that we feel like we know exactly what it feels like. The 250 versus the 300, it's very subtle differences anyway. So this is obviously gonna act a little bit more like the 250 version of the the KTM, because it is a 250, but it's the closest comparison that we have, right?
Yeah, and no electric start, so we'll see if that bugs us or not. I mean, the electric start really helps you when you get in tricky situations, but the Yamaha doesn't have it, so we'll see if that's something that bugs us. But then again, it's a two-stroke, so it starts super easy, but we're really excited. I'll probably end up wrecking the brand new bike if I ride it, because that's what we do to each other's bikes when they're new, is we wreck them. There's stock to stock comparison also with the setups that we like, so that way that we're giving it a fair chance with the suspension setup and so forth. So
yeah, and I do think it'll be fun because it is light. It's the lightest bike that I've ridden personally, at least a lightest full-size bike that I've ridden. The other thing that I'm a little bit nervous about though today is it only has about a 2-gallon tank. It might be a 2.1 gallon tank, and so I'm going to be riding a Climb vest today, or wearing a Climb vest, a load-bearing vest, and it has a bunch of pockets on it, and I'm actually going to be carrying gas with me. I've only got 32 ounces of gas in bottles, but I'm going to be carrying that just in case I run out, because the ride that we're going on, it's a little bit longer of a loop, and I'm kind of concerned that I'm going to run out of gas on that bike. So I might be looking into a desert tank. I don't like the way that the desert tanks look, but we're going to find out today. If I run out of gas today, probably we'll have to put a desert tank on it if I want to keep the bike very long. So that's what we're up to. Yeah, you better. Sam's gonna hide his beanie. Well, guys, it's the second time out on the YZ250X. This is the 2017 version. Sam and I are gonna go put this bike through its paces up on some mountain single track, and we just left the truck, so we're letting the bikes warm up a bit. For comparison, Sam is on the KTM 350XC right there. That's a 2015 version. And so we're gonna have some fun today. That's deeper than I thought. And somehow, even though I was thinking about how deep it might be, I killed the bike.
I'll end up mentioning this a few times on this ride, but the more I rode the bike, the more I liked it, and I basically what happened is by the end of the day, I was loving the bike, and I was feeling as comfortable on this bike as I have on any bike before it. And yes, it's a little bit different than the KTM 300XC, which Sam is on right there, and they both have their virtues, but honestly, I loved this bike, and there were many things about it that I liked better than the KTM, which really, really surprised me. I think Yamaha has something really, really awesome here.
Getting into a little bit of autumn here. I always hesitate to say the date of when I'm filming because it takes me so bloody long to get stuff out because I've got a backlog of stuff. I try to shoot something every time I go out, and I don't ride as much as people think. If I can get out every other week, I'm doing good. Sometimes I can't get out every other week and it's every 3 weeks. Man, Sam's hauling the freaking mail today.
The bike was running phenomenal, and one of the things I did when I got the bike to begin with is I looked at kind of the jetting chart inside of the manual and then did my own calculations and things, and I ended up leaning the bike out a little bit. I leaned out the main jet, I leaned out the needle jet, I leaned out the needle clip position, and I also leaned out the idle jet, just with the jets that came with the bike. And so I was able to kind of make some adjustments right off the bat, and then I adjusted my air screw a little bit, and I got this thing running really, really well. And on this ride, we're riding anywhere between 6,000 feet and 8,500 feet, just kind of depending the beginning of the ride, and the middle of the ride, and the end of the ride. And the thing ran strong, and it ran really, really clean. In fact, I think I had this one running more crisp than Sam's bike was running this day. So I was really happy with the way the motor was performing.
Man, this thing feels good. It is very light, very nimble. I set the sag yesterday to about 104. I'll fuck myself off there. But yeah, I set the sag to about 104. Second gear, it's quite tall on this. I'm used to a little bit more low end in second gear. So on the 300, there's a little bit more bottom end, and then the clutch is a little bit. Dang it. Miss a little bit of the tractor ability on this. Okay, so update. I just got off of Sam's 300XC, and I will say that the hydraulic clutch, as soon as I got back on the 300XC with the hydro clutch, I was like, oh yeah, this is sweet. And as good as this clutch is, it is not a KTM hydraulic clutch, and I miss the hydro clutch when I'm riding this thing. The other thing I'll say is, so I don't have it on film, but we just got done coming up a pretty tight section of single track, and it's pretty steep, and the places that I'm used to being able to go in second gear on my KTM 300 and have enough torque to pull through it, I did not feel like I had enough torque to do it on this. The bottom end just isn't there as much as on a 300, and I don't think the bottom end is even there as much as a KTM 250XC. This thing wants to be ridden more like a two-stroke, higher up in the RPMs, higher on the, you know, more up on the pipe. And Sam said the same thing.